Uh-oh. Looks like someone was having a cold one and checking out my new axle. Parts came in for the Captiva. Probably the first thing we'll do today, I'm guessing. Oh, look at this. We went through a whole case of beer. We aren't here for any of that. We're here for a day in the shop, making it work. I'm Jimmy if you're new. We got a whole bunch of empty parking spaces out there. Hopefully something will roll in and we'll make it work. Let's do it, stay tuned. Oh, that's not supposed to be like that. Oh, but look at that. Header panel's in. That's why I'm working on the cowl now. You guys seen those videos on Sundays, right? And let's get this place opened up. Beautiful day out today. Chilly, but beautiful. You guys ever seen my stack of parts? That's where I keep everything out of the weather a little bit. Oh, I gotta throw this away. That's from the Mercury Grand Marquis last week. Joe's started on the Toyota RAV4 engine, I guess, but we haven't finished it. Probably because I was off Thursday and Friday. We got a couple other things going on, I'm sure. We'll come up with something. Oh, they got some Christmas cups. A little holiday spirit. I like it. We're gonna get this axle in here. Pretty straightforward. Slides into the transmission. 3 bolts in the aluminum bracket. Let's do it. Now, this is an oily mess, this car. I love dirt. Love dirt. The 3 bolts are symmetrical, so you can put it in any setup you like. I think I took this out with a 3/8 impact. It's a distant memory, but we'll set that up. Nice new parts. Everything should fit together well, right? Let's see. It'll help to have the knuckle out of my way in a second once I have a free hand. Get this started. Ah, that didn't work out. There you go. Now before I attach it to the knuckle, I'm gonna make sure the joint's all the way on and snapped in place. Alright. Get the old ball joint in there. And like I did on the other side, I'm even gonna use a new cotter pin. How about that? I'm gonna make this thing new car status. Nothing but that will do. I try to note which way the cotter pin hole is facing before I put the nut on. And it's facing me. So, should we get this lined up? I'm going to go one more notch. Look at that. You can see right through the hole. You know it's going to work. Now this is the XL cotter pin we all know and love. What's happening is the wheels turn slightly, so it's messing with me a little bit. That's alright. I don't want to go up and unlock the steering wheel when I'm almost done. So like many things, I'll find a way to make it work. Don't leave these on the ground, they go into tires, so FYI. All I gotta do is tighten the axle nut, check the transmission fluid, and put the wheels on. Oh! And answer the phone. The phone's ringing. That is one big nut. I think it's 157 or 155 foot-pounds. I'm going to double check the torque on that. Really important to torque these correctly because you're also setting the preload on the bearing. So it wants a certain amount of load from this nut. I mean, honestly, normally you can just tighten them and be done with it. But why take a chance? Let's unlock this wheel, fire it up, and check the training fluid. That's about on its last legs. Not really supposed to impact those. Everyone does. But this has been impacted quite a few times. So I'm going to leave the rest of that to the old torque wrench. Got to take this oil cap off. It's way down there under the ECM, and then I stuck a funnel in the hole it came from. They hit it pretty good on you. It's hard to find. Now I got to start it up and then pull the plug out next to the axle. There's an 11 or 12 millimeter plug. I forget what size it is. But it's right at the bottom of the axle on the driver's side. See if the battery's dead and if it'll start. It's been here like a week and a half. So, let's see what happens. Oh, that's... yeah, nothing. You guys might remember from last week too, this is a car that the park switch doesn't work. So he's got the column shroud undone. So you can reach in there and push the lever to get the key out because it doesn't know it's in park. I mean, we could fix that, but he doesn't want to. Let me get the charger on it. I got to push this there's a little lever in here. Got to push that to get the key back. We don't want to try to charge while the key's part way on it. It stays on accessory otherwise, basically. Alright, 151 is what we want. 30, 40, 50. Oop. Back it down, don't get crazy on me. Uh-oh, I gotta lower it. Well, I guess it's not terrible. Ta-da! I'm gonna back it down for the wheels now. Alright. This wheel lock is on its last legs. I don't think I'm gonna go to full torque. I'm gonna get it pretty good and call it a win. Because it's not going to come off soon. Oh, did you guys just look at my head the whole time? I'm sorry about that. Uh-oh. That's not good. Customer says he has a leak, and he had no leaks until we worked on it. I'm like, well, we fixed a misfire, and I put a thermostat housing in it. The thermostat's bone dry. Full disclosure, I looked at it with a mirror from underneath. He does have an oil leak. I think we talked about that when I worked on it last time. That he's got a slight oil leak. It's hard to say exactly what could be leaking, but these are bad for oil filter housings, oil coolers. Yeah, the oil cooler's leaking. So, that's been leaking, of course, but he noticed it now because we worked on it. We'll see what happens with that one. They said, Jimmy, you gotta come back. I said, I do? What's wrong? He has a leak he never had before. Okay. Alright, I gotta pull the Jeep in. We're gonna do some camber kits on the... It's got a new front differential from the body shop. And as adjustment capabilities there's tabs on the housing. I think I filmed that last week. And I'm gonna put the offset washers and grind slots so we can adjust the casters way off. So, let me pull it in. Alright, this is one of the vehicles that sadly is so out of whack. I'm going to have to get this toe a little better to make sure my caster is sweeping correctly, and then I'll re-sweep it. I want to know exactly how much I need to adjust it before I start just modifying everything, but it's at least 2 degrees more here and 4 degrees more on this side, which might be a tall order because it's a solid axle. See what we can do. Okay, these guys over at Jeep, you know, they're doing their best. You can't really give them too hard of a time, I suppose. But this drag link sets the steering wheel straight, right? And then this drag link sets the total toe. Well, everything's nice and fairly new, so it still turns by hand, which is nice. The other way. Alright. Now I'm going to center this measurement, then I'll go back to the total toe drag link setting, or total toe adjustment, and get the total toe right. Get this about center. It's not a perfect science. This is a reverse thread on one side and standard thread on the other, so it's double threaded. So it moves these two pieces further apart and closer together. So when they get old and rusty, they're a real pain in the patootie, but we're pretty close now. I can go ahead and set this total toe, and then we'll sweep the caster. And keep in mind, this is all just to get us in the ballpark so we can find out what modifications we have to do and start over. Alignments can be time consuming. Whew, I gotta clean that lens, don't I? If you need to and it's a little jammed, you can always use your Knipex Jeep adjusting tool, and that'll help. Look at that thing. Look at that adjustment. That's nice. I'm gonna clean you guys up a little bit. You got a schmudds on your face right there. Let me get that. Now lock this down, re-sweep the caster. The problem is the toe affects the caster, believe it or not, because when the front wheels are towed way out, the caster sweep's going to be off. So you definitely, it's got to be in the ballpark at least. So let's do that. All right. You got to tell it you want to do it though. That's the thing. Verified caster. Okay. About that. All right, so we got a lot better. The caster's actually equal. It's reading equal from left to right now because I corrected the toe. So it was off 2 degrees to one side, so it affected that side the most. So that's just one of those little things that you'll find out over time. Everything's got to be at least in the ballpark or it affects all the other adjustments. So I got to straighten the wheel out a little bit, and we're going to put this cam kit in, and we're going to add about 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees of caster on both sides. Mustang's making a racket. Sounds like an engine, but could be like a serpentine belt thing. We'll find out. I think Joe's working on that one. I went out there and took a quick look at the Mustang with him because Paul was looking at it. He's not a mechanic, he's a manager. It's got metal flake oil, like spun some cam bearings or main bearing, crank bearings, whatever. But it's that noise, it was making a wicked screeching, crunching noise. It's not starting. That's just while it's turning over. So, and you stop cranking it, that crank pulley goes ah, like it doesn't even flex. So, something bad. Needs an engine. Tear down or an engine. Definitely needs an engine. Just you can tear it down and find out why, or you can just put an engine in it. But metallic oil is bad. You guys can probably see these little shoulders. So it's made for an eccentric washer or cam washer to be able to adjust it slightly, but I don't think it's slotted, so I'm going to take it apart and grind slots. Let's do that. They make tools to punch the slots too, but we don't have the specific tool for this vehicle, so we'll probably have to do it with a grinder. Not slotted. Oh well. I should be able to sneak it out without taking the weight off, but we'll see. Looking for that boing! Ah, you jerky. Take a little weight off. There's 3 more links holding it, but it still wants to kind of move a little bit, so it's kind of jamming the bolt. I'll take a little weight off with the jack. Put it in jack and hold. Ready. Now this bolt, let's see what we can grind that away with. I'm also going to have to keep this down somehow. Take this hose bracket off of here. 15. Just happen to have one. It's so nice when everything's new. Makes it way better when everything is new. Take the old boat. That'll hold it. See if the Milwaukee can handle this task.
Oh, there you go, man. Look at that little Milwaukee.
Look, I gotta get my face shield on now because some little metal chips are going everywhere. Let the tool live longer with some cutting fluid.
I like that angle.
I just want this,
It's like cobalt. Is this a harder steel, I guess?
I want to get this washer to let me go to the maximum.
Size of those bolts, no wonder the holes.
And see that the slot is so that I can go to the maximum amount the washer will give me. So that's all you really got to do. This side needs to go a little more because the washer doesn't drop in yet. So I can take a little more out of there.
You gonna do both sides of that bracket?
You have to, yeah.
Alright, this would be a good one to watch because typically they've already slotted them. They just neglected to put the eccentrics in. This is one you gotta do. Katie bought a Jeep. I'm not saying that they're poorly engineered things, but
Yeah,
it's
a
a
little
Jeep.
more. I gotta do these. This time it's 4. These metal flakes are everywhere. I'm wearing a shield just to keep metal from bouncing off my forehead into my eyes. Even wearing glasses, stuff still gets in your eyes when it's spraying. Little cutting fluid each time I start a new one. Make sure I can get my full throw out of my adjuster. Feels pretty good over there. Alright, let me finish this up.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hey Riley, we're pushing one. Well, good doing each day.
And when you get to work in another place, it's hot.
Did you say that motor's not right?
No, we probably should have checked
Oh.
about 3 days ago or something.
Now I have to use this locking nut, even though I hate these crimp nuts. But it's different threads. They're smart because they knew I would have used the original one. Look how nice the original nut is. Big flange washer. Oh well. You can't spin the bolt to tighten and loosen it now like you can with the stock one. Since it's got the cam slot in the bolt, you got to use the nut to lock it down. And I don't have a 24 impact swivel, so I'm going to see if my snap-on and my gray pneumatic will get along better than people on the internet. See what happens here. Shouldn't be a big deal. Stupid lock nut. Make sure my wrench is tightened the right way. That's about it. I just want it snugged up so I can do the other side and turn them both at the same time because you can't twist the rear end housing. These kits really have nothing to do with the accident. It's because they lifted it. You put a 2-inch lift on a car, you're altering all the geometry, and it looks really cool. That's one battery. I started with a fully charged battery and I had to get another one. Ow! That's the bigger problem with this kind of work. I'll be dealing with metal splinters for 2 days now. Oh well, what are you gonna do? The cutting fluid protects the bit and keeps the metal dust down a tiny bit.
Hey, Paul.
Getting there.
Should have had Riley hold the shop back for you.
Gonna get metal splinters for a week. Problem is, you're not done with metal splinters when you're done with the job.
That tool's not overheating.
The who?
No, plastic.
No, I smell that a lot too.
Yeah, it must just be too over.
This thing's still recording? What the hell? It's like magic, the GoPro. Oh, you guys are all crooked and everything, like you've been drinking. You guys got to lay off the sauce, man. I'm going to turn both bolts at the same time. I don't know if you can see me in the mirror, but turn both bolts at the same time. Try to change the caster on both sides. Basically what I want to do is I want to tilt the rear end out so the lower ball joint goes further out to add caster, right? It's not going to be a live reading. If you've seen my other videos, you have to do a sweep afterwards to make sure it's accurate. Try to get to 5. Now I can tighten it down. Should be good. Yeah, suspension bolts gotta be tight, man. And this isn't ride height one, these are tightened down too, so the bushings aren't getting stressed too much. Because the bushing's got to be able to flex up and down while suspension moves. So if you have the bushing in a bind at ride height, when it goes the other direction, it's going to overload the bushing and shorten its lifespan dramatically. So it's important when you tighten some of these kinds of bolts that pinch a bushing, that it's at ride height. Let's sweep this caster and see where we're at. No, I do not want to override them. But I am going to have to tweak the steering wheel, get a little bit back to the left. This should be quick and easy. Tighten this up. I keep the engine running on these just to help keep the wheel centered, but I'm still going to have to recheck it, take the lock off and recheck it. I'm going to call that a win. Let's go ahead and print that some gum. We went from all that nasty redness to that delicious green goodness. Everybody likes green because that's the color of money. And trees and grass and all the beautiful things in the world. Alright, let's take this thing for a drive, verify the wheel's straight. I got to do a steering wheel reset too. Just use the machine and do that real quick so you guys can see what that looks like. I thought I was going to get to do it. They said don't worry about it. The body shop's got to do ADOS and all that stuff. So. And I got another diag out there waiting for me right away. And we'll get one on the next one. Get a steering wheel angle reset. I'll show you next time. Farfignugan. I guess it's going to be a Volkswagen day because Farfignugan. Got to get the scanner. This here Passat 2013 vintage, I believe. I'll check and make sure, but it stalls, sluggish, hesitates, runs weird. Throw the scanner in there and see what kind of codes we got, and we'll verify the year and the mileage. Someone already popped the hood for me, so I figured I'd take a look around here real quick. Oh, that's not good. You guys see it? That's a brand new throttle body. Someone's already fixed it. Maybe not. Oh well, I hate that. Someone fixes it, then they bring it in for you to fix it. Let's see what codes are in there. I got distracted. 2013 it is. 103,735 miles on this cream puff. It's actually pretty clean inside. Let me give it a 6. It's a little cleaner than most. And it is 10 years old now. So, of course, the clock's not set right. Maybe that means the battery went dead. Or they tried disconnecting the battery to see if it would make it run better. Because that always fixes them. German cars, actually. Sometimes that will, putting a new battery in it. This car has a new battery. Has a new throttle body. And the customer's not happy the way it runs. 103,000 on a Volkswagen could be nearly anything. Somewhere between $11 and $11,000 to fix. And we don't even know what's wrong yet, but we know it's in that range. Let's do a topology test. See what codes are in all the modules. We'll probably have to clear out a lot of battery codes since I do see a new battery. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of voltage codes. Welcome to your Passat. I'm sorry that you have a Passat. I mean, they're actually really nice cars when they're new. It's just the longevity, the plastic problems, and once they're hit 6-8 years old, man. They're nice when they have a warranty though. They drive nice and all. Skip does not support automatic ID. Yes, it does. I just didn't have the key on. I was talking to my people. You know, I miss them. I want to see how everyone's doing, having a conversation, chit-chatting while I'm supposed to be paying attention. I'm going to start that over again. We'll get that done. We're going to figure this out one way or another. Now it's going to let me do it. 4 ECM codes. Oh my goodness. Report, please wait. Oh, Paul just came over and told me the customer thinks it's an oxygen sensor. So we know it's not that. Uh-oh. Engine electronics, brake electronics, climate control, electronic central electric, airbag. We got ECM, PCM power relay de-energized too early. Low system voltage, bank 1, sensor 1, O2 sensor low voltage, cold start idle air control system performance, tire monitoring codes, HVAC codes. So we got a lot of codes. Take a look at the O2 sensor's performance, and if it's a vacuum leak or a PCV problem, I'll be able to bring it off idle and see if the problem improves a little bit. I'm going to bring up the data and we'll see what we see. Wow, this thing runs pretty bad. I don't know if I need to look at data. I think I need to find a vacuum leak instead. Let's get this engine cover off. Alright, Volkswagen didn't think they should make it easy to get to the air filter or the and to be able to see the intake manifold. So you got to take some things out of your way. You got to do a little dancing. You lift this up with a jerk. That's what it says. See? Told you. It breaks. That's what happens. Because they don't know what the hell they're doing when they make stuff. Lift it with a jerk at the front. The engine cover is also the air filter box, so get it out of the snorkel somehow or another. You know, it's one of those things that you say to yourself when you see it, I don't think they could have possibly found a better way to do that. Manifolds on these can have problems, all kinds of issues. It is definitely running lean. Make sure there's no mass airflow connector on that. Some of them the mass air is in there. Some of them it's here. Some of them it's map sensor. I'm going to take a look around, see if I can spot something, and we'll come back and I'll bring you guys in once I see something productive. Well, I blocked this off. This is the valve cover breather, one of the most common failures. This has a second breather apparently on the oil filter housing, which you can't get to without taking the intake off. Since I blocked this off and it didn't make a difference, it's probably the oil filter housing. All I gotta do now is try to verify it. There's no easy way to bypass it, that's the problem. Phone's ringing. With the O2 unplugged, it runs way better. The problem is you have to figure out, is it running better because it's going into backup fuel? Or is it running better because you took the bad O2 sensor out of the equation? You plug it back in, see how if it starts running bad right away or if it takes a minute. Or if you watch the fuel trim data, I plug it back in, it starts dropping off. That's interesting. Unplug it, it goes back into default. Another thing to consider is disconnecting the O2 sensor. We got a circuit code, so we know that 131 is probably actually lean. Battery's done charging on the Captiva. Let's see if we can button up that fluid level and take that one for a drive. The transmission fluid looked nasty on that thing. Some of you guys might know, some of you might not, but this has a check plug on the side by the axle. You got to fire it up first, so that because the fluid's over that when it's not running. So you want to start it up, pull that plug out. I put 2 quarts of fluid in it. I think that's probably a little overfilled. That's my goal, because I don't want to get it hot and then have to stick my hand down there. So I overfill it, start it up, let it warm up a little bit, and I'll pull that plug out and let the fluid level to a slight trickle. Put the plug back in. Let's start it up. Alright, I got this running. I left this wheel off just so I can, that's the fill plug right here on the side of the transmission case next to the axle. Put a drip pan under it, pop it out of there, hopefully some fluid will trickle out. We'll be good to go. I'm going to use a Capri ratchet, a long Craftsman extension, and I think that's a gray pneumatic 11mm. Oh, Sunex. How about it's a 7/16, 11mm, basically a pipe plug. There's no gasket on or anything. Now this fluid was so nasty, I'm tempted to drain it and refill it all. But this car hasn't seen much love. So I'd be kind of concerned that it might not leave the shop. You remember this came in with the broken axle. And when I pulled the axles, it looked like motor oil that had never been changed in the transmission. I want to touch it. There it goes. That's after adding 2 quarts. See how nasty it is? I'm not even sure if this transmission works, but we're going to let that fluid level set itself right. I'll put this plug back in. That is nasty. If this transmission works, I'll be surprised. I've never seen fluid that nasty in a working transmission. We're going to give it a try though. I figured I lost a quart or so when I pulled the axle. I put 2 quarts in just to try to get some of the nasty fluid out, but if you put too much detergent in, and fresh fluid has nice detergent, then it scrubs all the clutches and the transmission ends up not working. So that's why the phone is ringing, and we're trying to avoid that. I don't mind if the phone rings, actually. That's a potential customer. Someone needs help. Pulling out a little bit. We're going to give it a minute. Once I get that done, pop the wheel on there, and of course I'm going to torque it. I'm going to take this thing for a drive and hope we make it back. All right, moment of truth. Holy moly, went into gear. That's nice. That is nice. Let's see what the temperature is on the AC here. I know, there's a door there. That's all right. It actually doesn't run too bad. Well, I'll take it for a drive, make sure it goes through all the gears, and we'll see what's next. All right, this thing runs and drives great. Kind of surprised. I'm glad though. This vehicle has not seen a lot of love. On to the next one. Oh, don't forget to get your key out. You got to push this little lever. This is the park lock, that little yellow tab, that little yellow plastic bushing. That's the park lock. And you got to do that to get the key out. Fast and furious, bro. Check for battery draw. Got towed in. I put the Gulu on it, and the Gulu wouldn't even turn on. No voltage. Hit the boost button, it just yelled at me and said no. No voltage. Got the jump box, still wouldn't work. Then I realized there's a plastic liner on the battery terminal, so I had to raise up the connection. As soon as I did, the fan turned on with the key off. So they want to check it for draw, but the fan always runs, so I would assume they have to know about that. But let's find out which one of these is the fuel, is the fan relay, and go ahead and pull that out, or fan fuse and pull it out and turn the fan off, and we'll see if there's any other draws. It's got a brand new battery, but it's going to have to be charged. Charging system's working, I can see that. Mr. Gulu's not happy. Alright, I'm going to check on the fuses. 2011 Farfignugan GTI. 155,933 miles. My goodness, it's still on the road. That's amazing. It's like 3 times the life expectancy. I'm sorry, Volkswagen fans. I'm gonna go ahead and smart scan this thing, and it's past lunchtime, but I don't want to leave it running and have it overheat, and I don't want to turn it off and have the fan kill the battery until I at least figure something out so I can go get something to eat. Because I'm really not starving to death. I could stand to lose a couple pounds. It'll be okay if I go to lunch 15 minutes late. I think I'll live through it. I'm going to see if there's any codes, like if this has a broken temperature sensor or open circuit temperature sensor, it'll turn the fan on, that kind of thing. So real quick, I'm going to find that out. I couldn't decipher the fuse panel. I must have looked up the wrong application engine or something, because the fuse panel's totally wrong. It's telling me there should be a 50 amp fuse in a spot where I have a 5 amp fuse. So we'll see if we got an engine code. So we'll see what that is, and if that leads us in the right direction. And I may just unplug the fan itself Because when you turn the key off, the fan stays running. It's got a few more modules it's going to ping, and then we'll see what's going on. I'm gonna go out and unplug the fan right now. The temperature's not high or anything like that, so I can do that while this is topology and it's a little tiny off. That's a shame. All we have is a turbo supercharger under boost code. Usually means like there's a duct leaking or a sensor's bad, something like that. Nothing to do with the cooling fan. The fan control module is in the fan assembly, and someone's done a radiator and a fan assembly on this already. Now, I don't know if they did that to try to fix something. Engine in a state of extinction. Please confirm the ignition key is in the open position. The engine is in a state of extinction. Is the execution of the action test? I don't know. Error occurred. Okay, so it won't let me do it. I got to get at the fan connector, of course. It's underneath. You got to lift it up, and you got to take a big under tray out to get to the connector. I can see it from the top, but I can't reach it. So I'm gonna do that real quick so the battery's not dead when I come out. Once you get that out your way, it's easy. It's right here. What's the problem? What is the problem? Let me put you guys down a second. There you go. Once you got two hands, it's easy. Just pop it right out of there. And these wires get pinched in between there. That's normal. It's German cars, superior automobiles. Let me eat something. I'm getting ornery. I need a Snickers. Must be like a real big Volkswagen problem. This Volkswagen is missing the same exact cap. What's that? Something's going on with that oil filter breather. This one's easy to bypass. The oil filter housing breather is not. But I'm not getting the reading that they're saying I should be. But I spray this in, it runs better. Spray it in the dipstick, make it run better. This customer's waiting too, by the way. I didn't know that until about 10 minutes ago. When I unplug it, it goes into backup fuel. That's why it makes it run better, because it starts ignoring things. Something's definitely going on with that oil filter breather. Like I said, I bypassed this, no difference. Those are the two things that cause this issue.
So I gotta get in there and keep it running?
If you could, I want to try to see if I get a fuel trim reaction spraying mass airflow cleaner into the dipstick.
Clear?
Yep. Having a hard time keeping it running?
Yeah.
It's funny that it runs worse with the dipstick out, but I'm not getting a high vacuum reading with my vacuum gauge. You got the key on? I gotta start over. I lose all my settings every time you turn the key off. And with a German car, it forces you to turn it off if the engine shuts off to restart it. So it's super helpful. Thanks, Volkswagen. Misfires, timing, engine tap, bank one, sensor one. Start it up. It'll probably run good for about 30 seconds.
Okay.
I think that's when it goes into fuel trim control mode. Keep it at like 1,000 RPM. I think I got it to run pretty good there. That's why people are putting throttle bodies on it and stuff. And O2 sensors. Kind of strange, huh? Unplug the O2, it runs good. That might make you think it had a bad one. The German cars. But how's I'm guessing? What decades? How am I not reading more vacuum at my dipstick tube? I got the O2 unplugged. Coming down. Now it's trying to lean it out. something's going on with these baffles. I just can't prove it. That's not right. I'm way over an hour on this. Let's see what they want to do. Alright, I got them working on an estimate for an oil filter baffle, crankcase breather baffle, whatever they call that thing. And back on this fiasco, the other Volkswagen, I finally found my correct fuse panel diagram. They got 2 different fuse panel options, and the fuse panel changes about every 10 or 12 months. They come up with a new one. So this should be the fuse that turns off the relay that controls the PCM and the fan. So I'm going to plug the fan in, pull this fuse out, see if it stops. At least that'll be helping me with the process of elimination, right? Let's plug that bad boy in. Do 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 do. Does now. That didn't do it. That's terrible news. The key's not even on, which is the interesting part. This fuse isn't supposed to get power with the key off, but if the relay is bad, it'll send out power. So now I eliminated that. So I had to get my wiring diagram from Identifix, which is a facsimile of the original diagram. It shows this fuse. That's supposed to be the one I'm pulling out. Powers up the fan control module. And that should have made it stop running. Unless the fan control module is bad, you take power away and it still will stay running. That's very possible. Okie dokie. I pulled out SB10 and I pulled out 38 and 24. This doesn't have a 38 actually. I pulled out 24 and the fan still stays running. If the fan module's bad, it'll stay running when you plug it in because the main wires have power and ground all the time. But the control module is used to run the fan at whatever speed it wants. And the modules go bad all the time. It's in the fan assembly. So we'll mess with that some more in the morning. That's where today's video is going to end. We got a few things checked out today. We didn't really fix a lot, although we did get the Captiva out of here finally. It's nice to have that out of my bay. Made room for some Fartford-Nugan. I appreciate you spending some time. Hope you'll torque the like button, and I hope I'll see you in the next video, because you're awesome.